Tom Clements was dead on his front step because of a missing word. On March 19, 2013, the executive director of the Colorado Department of Corrections opened his door in Monument, Colorado, and a man who should have been behind bars shot him. The killer, Evan Ebel, had a documented history of violence and had been involved with a white supremacist prison gang. He was released early only because in a sentencing hearing months earlier, a judge never said the word consecutive. The court clerk recorded the added time as concurrent. 4 years of incarceration evaporated in a single clerical interpretation. And 2 men were killed in the wake of that absence. Evan Ebel's record was not ambiguous. He had been convicted of assaulting a corrections officer, and while incarcerated, affiliated with the 211 Crew, a prison gang known for organized violence. Corrections staff and records reflected his affiliations and disciplinary history. The additional sentence intended to follow his 8-year term was supposed to keep him locked up longer. Instead, the paperwork reflected no additional time because the sentencing entry lacked explicit direction. Officials who later reviewed his file saw a man whose record, on paper, showed completed time. The mechanism of release was banal and precise. A word. When a judge imposes an added sentence, the court must specify whether it runs consecutively or concurrently. Consecutive means one term after the other. Concurrent means terms run at the same time. The judge at Ebel's hearing did not say consecutive. The clerk, following standard practice in the absence of explicit instruction, recorded the sentence as concurrent. The correctional system processed incarceration and release based on that record. Administrative safeguards that should have compared the transcript and intended sentence to the docket either failed. Nathan Leon was 27, a delivery driver for Domino's in Denver, and a father. In February 2013, weeks after Ebel walked out of a Colorado penitentiary, Leon was murdered. Ebel needed a cover, a uniform, and a delivery bag to approach his primary target without arousing suspicion. Nathan Leon became a means to an end. He was killed for clothing and for the plausibility his role would grant Ebel at a suburban doorstep. The systematic error that freed Ebel converted an ordinary service into a lethal instrument. On March 19th, Ebel knocked on Tom Clements' door wearing the stolen uniform. Clements opened the door. Ebel shot him. Clements was 58, a career corrections professional appointed executive director in 2011. He was known across policy lines as a pragmatic reformer, someone who focused on reducing recidivism and improving facility operations. He was also the official responsible for the system that had, through a chain of administrative failures, facilitated his killer's release. The juxtaposition is stark. The head of the prison's killed at his own threshold by a man who should still have been in a cell. 2 days later, the direct criminal accountability loop closed, not in court, but in a Texas shootout. A deputy attempted a traffic stop. Ebel fled, fired on officers, and was in turn shot. His car crashed. He was transported to a hospital and died. He never stood trial for the murders of Nathan Leon and Tom Clements. Forensic evidence, the uniform, ballistics, and movement records established his role, but the procedural failures that unleashed him were never adjudicated in a criminal forum because the principal perpetrator was dead. What looks like a clerical error is better described as a failure of systems. Courts, clerks, and corrections agencies operate on documentation. Any mismatch between spoken ruling and recorded order demands reconciliation. Either that reconciliation did not happen in Ebel's case, or the mechanisms in place were insufficiently rigorous. The missing word passed through multiple checkpoints: courtroom, clerk's office, corrections records, without being caught. Those checkpoints had the authority to stop the error. They did not. The institutional response was swift but reactive. The governor ordered a review of release procedures and sentencing documentation. Investigations probed how a single omission moved unchecked from transcript to release. The 211 Crew's presence in prisons was examined more closely. No evidence of a larger conspiracy to target corrections leadership was found. Investigators concluded Ebel acted alone. Still, the review led to procedural reforms intended to ensure sentence entries matched judicial intent and to strengthen verification before release. The legacy of these reforms is procedural rather than restorative. Colorado revised documentation and verification protocols, tightened cross-checks between court transcripts and sentence entries, and increased oversight over gang affiliations in custody. Those changes aim to prevent the same administrative pathway from opening again. They cannot resurrect Tom Clements or Nathan Leon. They can only attempt to make the administrative machinery less lethal. Accountability, in this case, is diffuse. A judge's omission, a clerk's standard practice, corrections' reliance on records, and the absence of a fail-safe verification process combine to permit 2 deaths. The system that administers confinement carries the acute duty to ensure its records reflect judicial intent. When it fails, consequences are immediate and mortal. This is the arithmetic of administrative neglect. Subscribe because the smallest words omitted in a courtroom can have the largest consequences, and because systems designed to contain violence must be precise in the details that keep people alive.